They say your eyes and your ears are a doorway. And in today's video, I'm going to go into depth on how music is coming into our doorways, so to speak, and what we can do about it and how we can make sure we're setting ourselves up to have the best possible information, music, sound coming to us. We either allow what comes into our mind to uplift us and empower us, or we allow what flows into our mind to suppress us, numb us, and keep us stuck in old patterning. It's often unconscious. Today I want to step into a world where sound and melodies reign supreme, where they can stealthily infiltrate our mind, our subconscious mind. There's an old saying by David Bowie that rock music is devil music. And I know, I love David Bowie. I had to actually confirm that he really did say that, and he did. And the idea behind that is that there is ways in which music can come in and it can manipulate us. It can actually manipulate our subconscious. And often we're just so loving the music that we don't often consider what it's doing to the subconscious mind. My intention is to shatter your perceptions on this topic and to expand your awareness, to give you a little bit more of a contrast into opposing ideas. It's not necessarily to say one thing is bad or good or right or wrong, but it is to open you up more consciously and your awareness to what you are consuming. So stick with me on this one because there's going to be some important and valuable things that you can take with you that I hope can infiltrate your subconscious in a more positive, powerful way. I need to start by saying that I love music. The reason I wanted to explore this topic is because music has been such an important and beautiful part of my life. With that said, I also see all kinds of people in my life, people I love, and all around me in this world walking around, myself included, have been there with the earbuds in, kind of tuned in to whatever's going on. Might be a podcast, might be music. But the point is that are we numbed? Are we distracted? Are we just using it as background noise? Or are we actually using it as a tool? And I'm not saying that background noise and numbing out sometimes can't be good for us, because there are moments that can be helpful. But I want to find the distinction with you today and help you to really understand what's happening on a very deep level with the frequency of some of the things that we're listening to. So I need to tell you a very brief thing about myself. I grew up in a musical family, and not like you might think. My grandfather was actually an accordion player. He played polka music in the mid-'80s. I was like a little girl, and I spent a lot of my time in this loud music atmosphere, a lot of dancing, a lot of singing, both German and polka music. Who knew? I can dance a lot of polka, by the way, just so you know. The reason I'm sharing this with you is that my grandfather had this ear for music. Now, I do not have any of those exact skills, at least I haven't developed them. I played the piano for a very short period of time when I was a little girl. One time, I was at this corporate event, and there was leadership training going on, and they gave us one of those test things. And I tested in the 90th percentile for a music score. And I remember looking at this thinking, this can't be right. So I brought it up to the teacher, and the teacher said, no, this music score actually represents your high sensitivity to hearing different kinds of tones or sounds. What I'm bringing to your attention right now is that there is a frequency that is weaved through all kinds of sounds and music and things that we are exposed to, even television, everything that we're exposed to through movies and the entertainment industry, that we are hearing on a very high level that we aren't even aware of. So let's talk about music. Music brings us together. Music inspires all kinds of emotion and sensations and even physical feelings in our body. The hair on our arms can stand up. We can feel and emote different things. And it also, not only does it bring us together, but it also brings into all kinds of memories and things from the past. It kind of has a tribal element to it. So, we'll be in the camp like, I like the Grateful Dead, I like country, or I like jazz, I like whatever. The beauty about music is that it has this power to shape culture. It has this power to impact us physically, emotionally, mentally, and even spiritually. When my clients come to work with me, they are often experiencing deep loneliness that they're not necessarily even sharing or fully aware of. They're also experiencing a lack of fulfillment, or they might have like a mild anxiety. Their nervous system seems to be dysregulated as they're growing or evolving. Or they don't feel at ease in their body, their digestive system, some kind of health issues going on, aka stress is happening in the body. And there's usually some kind of addictive pattern or some kind of patterning in their subconscious mind that's been there for a very long time. Now, how does this relate to music? So holding this idea that music can bring not only healing and positive, beautiful things, but it can also bring a lot of manipulation and control and egoic things, bringing us to our lower self, bringing us to our higher self. At the same time, activating all kinds of neurotransmitters in our body like norepinephrine, serotonin, cortisol, dopamine. Here's a silly example. So the other day I was driving in the car. I have a 14-year-old son, and he was the DJ, he put on Nirvana. Now he's 14, and it immediately brought me back, because this is what music does to us. It brings us back. When I was 14, unfortunately, that's when Kurt Cobain died. I was a huge Nirvana fan. I love Nirvana. It was kind of like, they say the word emo now is like very kind of emotional, emo vibe. Now, not everybody listens to Nirvana and felt kind of that grunge, emo vibe. A lot of people felt very uplifted by Nirvana. For me, it was a time in my life when I was kind of depressed. I was down, and I don't know, we can't correlate it exactly to the music, but I just want to prove the point here that the moment we hear a song brings back memories. The experience that my son has listening to Nirvana, different than my experience. I have memories of death. I have memories of depression. I have memories of all kinds of things from my 14-year-old years. It might be different for him. So everyone's different when they listen to music, but the point is that it stimulates not only memories, but sensations and a deep level of emotional response in our body. So the thing also that happens is that we find a very core sense of identity through music. What happens is that we start to separate ourselves out into camps, into tribes, if you will, through music. Look no further to the last decade of our life where people are almost like obsessive with these camps that they've put themselves in, like the Beyonce camp or the Taylor Swift camp. And this is not new. This has also been happening for many years, like the Beatles, Michael Jackson. And so what happens is that we separate ourselves out, and when we do that, our subconscious is very susceptible to the beliefs within that herd or that camp, if you will. This can be very powerful in some ways because we feel seen, we feel heard, we feel like we found our tribe, and this is also quite detrimental to our evolutionary process. I didn't make this video to say this person's a bad artist or this person's evil. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not really sure right now. I can tell you though, discernment is definitely needed in our culture in this moment. So my definition of discernment for this is to see beyond what might be obvious to us and to start to look at it a little bit differently, to see if we can hold more than one perspective, multiple perspectives, and perhaps make different choices. Step out of our comfort zone a little bit when it comes to what we might be taking in music-wise. This is never easy to do. It's like, I love that old music. My son's playing Nirvana, I'm singing. I love it. And at the same time, I can feel what it's doing to my body after a while. I can feel what it's doing to my mind. I'm going to get to another example on how I really feel about addiction, love addiction specifically, and music in just a moment. But discernment here becomes your superpower, because if you are somebody who's watching this video still, that means you really care about wanting to grow your subconscious mind. And that also means that we have to be discerning about what we are allowing to come into our mind. I'm not talking about perfectionism here. I'm not talking about being boring where we don't enjoy music anymore. Like, I love music. Music's wonderful. Music is deeply healing. I'm going to get to that in a second. But what I want you to do is I want you to make smarter decisions with a clearer intention behind them. So we're paying attention. Is this music uplifting me? Are these sounds that I'm experiencing on a regular basis getting stuck in my head all the time and I'm just kind of repeating them? A lot of the music right now is very hypnotic. And so there's hooks, and these hooks just keep on repeating. And even if you look at the lyrics, you'll see there's not even much to a lot of the popular mainstream music anymore. It's just a lot of hooks, a lot of things that repeat, a lot of hypnosis of what's going to stuck in your head. And that means that you just keep repeating the same thing in your head all the time. And I don't know about you, but I want to be really aware of what's playing in my head. We all have a story. We all have a loop that's playing in our head. And I want to make sure I know what that is. And I want to have the will, the control to be able to be aware of what it is and then question it and then shift it to what I want it to be thinking about. There was some kind of skit from way, way long ago that I watched with my son and my husband. And there was like a little song that went with it that was so stupid. And I must have had that song stuck in my head over and over. It was funny for a while until it wasn't anymore. And then it was like, why are we singing this? We have this thing called mirror neurons where like we repeat what we hear, right? Music is contagious. It is something that like we can hear it. It might be something we want to mimic, and it's moving our body with it, and then it triggers old memories. It impacts us physically, impacts us emotionally, spiritually, mentally. Before you know it, we're saying things, we're thinking things that actually aren't our own, and it's really taken up a lot of bandwidth up here and in here. Does it really need to be? But nowadays, it's like a production, and all these visuals are connected to cultural ideas and politics. And I get it. I love art. We also don't understand what happens when we add the visual to a very low frequency sound mixed with upbeat music, but also low frequency, sad, depressed feelings. When we combine all that together, we have to question, what is this doing? Video killed the radio star. Okay. So mainstream music that we hear all the time, that's playing in the background when we go into stores, when we're shopping, the mainstream music that's ranked on Billboard charts, that wins the Grammys, like that kind of music, this is mostly, if not all, set at a 440 hertz frequency level. At the 440 hertz level, this is a frequency that kind of eliminates a lot of the harmonization of what we tune into here on good old planet Earth. Put it simply, it stimulates our brain in opposing ways. So we want to grow and evolve our subconscious. We want to tune into something called a 432 hertz, which you can tune into 432 hertz all over YouTube. Ultimately, though, there is a frequency that is playing through most music that really kind of just numbs us. In a room where there is a dominant emotion, there is also this electric magnetic field. We can feel it. If you walk into a restaurant and there was just some kind of disagreement or fight going on, like even if you had no idea, you can kind of feel that energy. When you go to a concert and it's this huge crowd of people, and even though the bass is bumping, it's like a great beat, it's bringing the memories, it's bringing the emotions, and it's fun, and it's that tribal feeling that I'm talking about, like we're part of this team, you know? Even though that's happening, we still have this low frequency vibration from the music. In the lyrics, if they're like low vibration in conjunction with that, and it's bringing a base level of sadness in, it's like this mix of a cocktail to our body that's triggering all of our neurotransmitters and keeping us very susceptible to a very low vibration. And this is confusing because we are in a room where the electromagnetic field is people screaming and laughing and dancing, and it's loud. So it feels like a high vibration, but it's actually not. What is a whole nother conversation, which might be another video, I'm not sure, is how much we put all of these individuals that we see in concert or that we listen to, or even, you know, people on social media, we put them on these pedestals and we idolize them. And that makes it even more of a low vibration because we're making someone else larger than life, larger than us, and we kind of lose ourselves in it. brings me to another song, Lose Yourself to Dance. I love that. Okay. So like there is all kinds of fun in music too. I don't want to be the downer here. I love music. I listen to music all the time. Again, can you be discerning with how much of the music you're listening to over and over again? Can you switch it up? Can you take a break? Can you allow yourself to be more in nature so that way you can tune yourself into the birds chirping, the sounds of the world, so that way when you come back to your music, you can really decide and discern, like, what is this doing to my body? How am I feeling after I've listened to this album? Am I more uplifted? Am I kind of down? Is it triggering the memories of my past? Is it making me think of old exes or people that hurt me or what I'm not living up to? I don't know. What is it doing? That's the questions I'm encouraging you to ask yourself. This video is about really questioning the music industry in a lot of ways and how we prop up so much music that really gives off a frequency, and we have people idolized and put on pedestals that gives off a frequency. And I'm just sitting here with you today saying, is that really the frequency that you want coming into your body, your mind, and your spirit? The American military actually has tools where they emit high power radio frequency waves. It's this power projection, and they send it to their enemy. It's these photons, this frequency that impacts the enemy negatively, so that way they can win at what they're doing. So it's like, this isn't like some kind of new age thing I'm talking about here. We have known for a really long time what frequency does to people. We literally have tools that we use it in war. Whether that artist who is creating the music knows what they're doing or not, I can't say. Like, I'm not in their head. I don't know. If they're consciously using low frequency sound, low frequency vibrations with low frequency words, but then mixing it with really upbeat, fun, vibey, like I want to dance kind of music, then I think that's really not an integrity at all. Because what that's doing is it's sending all these mixed messages to your body where you're taking in like the low vibration energy that's icky, frankly, and lowering you into your low subconscious, but it's also keeping you in this upbeat place at the same time. And this, my friends, is what creates addiction. I went through a time in my life where I started to realize the more and more I tuned into mainstream music, the more I could hear the levels of codependency, love addiction, neediness, controlling, like even in some of the most beautiful songs. If you listen to some of the lyrics, it's like, wow, like I used to listen to that over and over and over and over again when I was younger. No wonder I was in that state of mind. Once you see that, it's infiltrated in pretty much every movie script, every beautiful song, every love song, every single thing you pretty much hear, it's there. And if we are constantly in that experience, what do you think we're going to manifest in our external world? The final things I want to mention to you before we wrap this up. One time I was in Spain and I went up to the top of this mountain to this place called Montserrat, and it was this beautiful place. Another story. But before I left, I was told by these people, there's music that's going to be happening inside this chapel thing. And it's like right now. So if you want to see it, you should like go in there. I thought, fine. And I just walked in there. I have no idea what was going to happen or what to expect. I sit down on one of those like pews. I'm in like the back row. They closed the doors and they started doing what I believe was like Gregorian chanting. I will never forget that for as long as I live. It completely moved my soul. I started weeping, but not in like a sad way. I felt like overcome with joy, and it like I could feel my heart opening. It was absolutely gorgeous. I'm just again inviting you to be very aware and discerning of what is it that I'm living in? What is the environment that I'm exposing myself to? What am I putting in my ears every single day? And can I start to have a bit of a filter of like, what's the words that are running through my head constantly? Because if we want to grow, evolve, more consciously, then that means we have to become aware of the thoughts that are running through our head. We have to become aware of what's happening in our subconscious mind. Here's a good litmus test. Do you listen to the thing to escape, or do you listen to something to uplift you? And then if you do believe it uplifts you, how do you actually feel when you're done listening to it? Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I love when you give it a thumbs up because it helps me in the algorithm, so thank you. And also, I love to hear from you, so leave a comment below. And by the way, if you're not subscribed to my channel, this is the time to do it. So please subscribe. You can hit that notification bell. I put out a video every week, and you'll be the first to hear when it comes out. Thanks again, and I will see you in the next video.